Jalen, you've been going crazy.
What is up, boys? Back with another video. Today I'm going to be here with Han too, and we're going to talk about GIYUU versus Rengoku. Who would win? Now, to be completely honest, I believe GIYUU wins too, but I'm going to be arguing on behalf of Rengoku for devil's advocate because it would be pretty boring if both of us are just arguing the same side. So, Han, you're up. Let's get this started.
For the first part I'm going to bring up for GIYUU scaling is, in base, he's been shown quite effortlessly reacting and perceiving Akaza. Even when Akaza has killing intent on Tanjiro, GIYUU is seen quite easily being able to cut off Akaza's arm with one water wheel, even though he was so close to killing Tanjiro in just that one shot. When going into GIYUU scaling, one thing which is brought up a lot is the falsely translated thing of haven't fought anyone as strong as GIYUU in over 50 years, which is wrong, but still you can use it even with the officially translated version, how Akaza states he hadn't fought a water husher in 50 years, with a very happy expression which can be used to imply the fact water hushers are deemed as quite strong opponents. Something which seemingly nobody talks about when it comes to base GIYUU scaling with Akaza is the fact GIYUU could arguably clash with Akaza much better than Rengoku could. Because this is seen by the fact GIYUU was shown being somewhat equal with Akaza's clash, which you may argue, yes, but so was Rengoku. But the difference here is that GIYUU is showing no sign of struggle, whilst with Rengoku he has veins on his head going all at it. When it comes to GIYUU scaling, we first see him blitz Akaza effortlessly. Now, yes, Akaza did need the company against Rengoku, but the difference here is the fact with Rengoku, Akaza isn't seemingly worried with Rengoku's speed. He just says it's amazing speed, which yes it is. But when it comes to GIYUU, Akaza's first thought isn't, oh my god, it's so fun, it's holy crap. Kind of implying that right there, GIYUU has better speed. And this is even supported later on by the fact a slower opponent than GIYUU is quite heavily implied by Akaza to have greater speed than, well, Akaza himself without the compass needle. Now, one thing which, again, not many people talk about when it comes to GIYUU scaling is GIYUU's insane durability. Because we see GIYUU in his marked state take on countless of Akaza's blows. In manga, it's stated that GIYUU and Akaza were taking blows or taking momentary rests, when you were landing blows on each other. And yes, this is still insane, as Akaza is arguably more amped than he was before, by the pure fact of GIYUU, who was seen as a threat by Akaza himself. And even more impressive is when GIYUU takes on the chaotic afterglow. It's stated that he had taken on 100 blows almost all at once from almost any directions, meaning GIYUU got hit in his vitals as well, and he's still standing, even after being near donuted no less. I'm going to use an anti-feat for GIYUU here, but I'm going to turn it into a feat. And that is the fact GIYUU could line half of Akaza's neck with constant flux. Now you may be saying, oh, but it's only said he did a small damage. Yes, whilst that is true, that's the only visible damage. But what we actually see is that he still lined half of Akaza's neck with an attack which gains power with momentum, and GIYUU had no momentum at all. Meaning, whilst GIYUU in this state, which is near the end, meaning he was probably fatigued and he had barely any stamina left, with an initial constant flux, which arguably was going to be worse than the 4 form here, was capable of lining Akaza's neck like halfway, which is insane. especially considering the fact Rengoku could only get halfway when Akaza puts himself in that position.
Alright, Han, now let me cook. So first off, definitely have to say Rengoku fought Akaza alone. That's something that GIYUU did not do. And yet at that, we already have that statement of upper moons being at least as strong as 3 pillars minimum. So mind you, 3 pillars minimum, and Rengoku's 1 pillar, and he boxed him by himself. GIYUU was doing good against Akaza and faring off well, but he wasn't landing any solid hits like Rengoku was. Like, Rengoku took off a couple limbs. But obviously that didn't matter because of regeneration. Needless to say, if Tanjiro wasn't there, GIYUU definitely would have lost. Whereas the only reason Rengoku lost is really because he got outlasted. Regeneration isn't really something he has, so he had no control over when he was losing. It's like chopping down a tree that comes back automatically. Even if it comes back automatically and it drops on you and you end up not being able to chop it down anymore, it doesn't mean you weren't able to chop it down to begin with. And even so, with this being said, he still overpowered Akaza with a fist in his stomach. Yes, Ace style, a fist in his stomach, while he was on the verge of death. While Akaza was obviously freshly rejuvenated because of regeneration. In other words, regeneration carried him. Without it, Rengoku would have dog-walked him. And then we also have that statement of Tanjiro saying that Rengoku could have been the one to beat Muzan someday. Essentially pretty much saying that he's the prodigy of the verse. All of this would put him above GIYUU easily. But then again, there is that good probability that Akaza was stronger when he was fighting Tanjiro and GIYUU, especially since later in the fight, he evolved to the point where he cannot be defeated just by his head being cut off. And that could be alluding to something special because that's the only demon that can really do that is Muzan. So that could have meant that Akaza even surpassed the other upper moons that were above him altogether. And that would definitely let GIYUU scale above Rengoku regardless of the fact that Tanjiro was there helping him. I'm sorry, y'all. I couldn't help it. I mean, I know I'm supposed to be on Rengoku's side, but, you know, the devil's advocate. You know, I'm a GIYUU fan, man. But anyways, yeah, man. Akaza evolving during the fight to that point that only Muzan could get to would definitely show something of him being at that higher level that others can't reach. But, I mean, hey, man, it's really debatable. Let us know which argument you think was stronger or which argument you have yourself if you want to. But yeah, thank you, Han. And let me wrap this up. To conclude, Water Hashira, Fire Hashira, both ultimately very strong characters. My normal stance is that Base GIYUU and Mark GIYUU are both above Rengoku just because of fighting Muzan, a whole nother level of anything Rengoku has fought. But then again, people say that, who knows, Rengoku might have been able to do something too if he was there. Well, you can't really argue with that since it never happened, so, but we'll leave that. I'd probably say the safest thing to say is that Base GIYUU is below Rengoku, but Mark GIYUU is above Rengoku. So base, Rengoku wins, full power, GIYUU wins. Anywho, fun video to make. Thanks for watching, nobody. Let's go.